So my uncle's here right now. My uncle has bipolar, and it's interesting because I was looking at Kanye West songs yesterday, um, and I don't really know what's happened with his story or anything because I said he was a Black Jesus because I noticed a lot of similarities between him and Justin. Only, of course, he did seem to have a slightly more depressing thing, but I don't think I really looked into his songs that much. I just knew that I liked a lot of them. Sorry, one of my faces in shadow, so it looks a bit weird like that. But anyway, um, better. And so yeah, so I was kind of thinking that I'm not going to look too much into it because I had quite a lot of other things to look at. And yeah, when it comes to the guys, I don't think I actually did too much research in them. I was just saying whatever. I was giving them names based on whatever I was being told in my head. And I don't know if how closely I really looked at his songs. And I noticed that he started going through more and more mental problems. And I don't know. At the time, I was just like, if he's supposed to represent a Jesus who is black, then or coloured, should I say? Because I don't like calling people coloured people black people. But yeah, it's. I feel like I'm saying it more and more just because I'm hearing this word being used so many times, and so sometimes I do say black just because that's how most people call coloured people. They call them black people. And a few years ago, I was told by someone that it's actually offensive to call a black person a coloured person, which didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, yeah, I've been thinking about it more because there's so much mental illness here. I think even something as small as not realizing how awful of a mum my mum is. I feel like even that can be considered a bit of a mental illness because I feel like you just need to talk to her for half an hour to realize that there's something very not right with her. Like she can't focus on what's important. She can't focus on things you actually need to do to a child or give to a child, or she can't focus on necessary things. She focuses on just random, just blurt talks, and someone like that is not capable of looking after a baby that needs round the clock, hourly attention, and yet the social services seem to give her way more attention than I don't know. I don't know. I didn't want to say she couldn't do it, but I don't think she can do it. And it took them a long time to realize that. So I feel like even that is a mental illness. But I am thinking more about mental illness now because it's just such a big thing. And that power song that Kanye West did. I didn't even notice it before, but when he did that song years ago, I looked into his eyes and I did not see madness. Now when I look into his eyes, I'm just like, well, it's obvious his eyes look like they're mad. Before I saw his power, now I see he's mad, and it's just like, has he changed that? Like, did you change that the eyes in that video to make his? Because I'm sure last time when I watched it years ago, I thought he was doing that song because he was trying to like just say, oh look, I could represent Jesus, or my name looks like Jesus, so Jesus, Yeezy, let's call myself Jesus. I don't know. I thought it almost like I told the celebrities that they were angels and the power went to their head, and they did that not because they were helping me or thought there was any truth behind what I believed, but rather just because they were trying to give themselves power. I mean, that's how I felt like he did that. I felt like he did that because he was trying to big himself up by saying, wow, I knew Aaliyah is Christ, and well, look, I'm obviously so powerful. But now it's just got a completely different message to it because now that I see him, I don't know if you noticed this. I mean, you might have noticed this before I did, because I had a lot of other things to think about. But yeah, now that I know that he represents the Jesus with mental illness, I feel like the average person with mental illness, should I say, um, I feel like I just see all his songs in a completely different way to how I saw them before. I think I wasn't looking too deeply at them, and I noticed that he kind of lost his thing with Adidas, and he lost a huge amount of money overnight. And I don't know if I think that is probably what needs to happen. Like right now, there is so much attention focused on mental illness, and it's such a big thing. But what people don't realize, I think, is with mental illness, there's a lot of people that just can't be helped. And, you can say whatever you want about it. But mental illness, I believe, can be cured with intelligence, with rational thinking, with recognizing your own body, recognizing when you're going into a high, recognizing, my uncle is bipolar, and I'm having a conversation with him, and I'm going to be as respectful as possible. But he's on lithium. He's been on for lithium for a long time. I know both Britney Spears and Kanye West have also been on that, and I think they have. Kanye said he definitely isn't going to take it, and I don't know if he actually did or not. But both of them said that it messes with your head and it ruins you. And I don't know if that's the truth or not. But I'm getting visions of my uncle, and I believe in his past life he was actually a doctor. So obviously was not on medication, was obviously fine, obviously able to live a normal life. But yeah, he was a doctor who studied mental illness, and he was one of the people who thought that keeping mentally ill people in boxes was a way to fix them. Now, that obviously means that any doctor who would think that keeping a mentally ill patient in a box is a way to cure them, clearly is actually mentally ill themselves. And so, I feel like even though he was a doctor in his past life, I'm pretty sure he did have mental illness, but he wasn't able to recognize it. He wasn't able to recognize the mental illness in his life. And he was putting his mental illness on others. And that's what loads of people do. So many people, they have wrong mental illness inside them, but they try and deflect it and try and make out that, you're the one who's mentally ill. I mean, you're the one who's screaming and shouting, and I'm the one who's a doctor and thinks that the way to cure your screaming and shouting is to lock you in a box for 2 days. It's you could say that, okay, the person who's screaming and shouting obviously is mentally ill and there's something wrong with them. Another person can come along and say, oh, it's demon possession, they're possessed by demons, we need to take them to the church and put them in a bowl thing of water or whatever. I don't know, there's all these sort of weird theories about how to cure mental illness, and then a doctor can come along with a smart suit or a nice suit and just be like, right, we're going to put them in a box. And technically they're all mentally ill. All three of them are mentally ill. You're trying to fix mentally ill people by using mentally ill people that are not coming up with right suggestions. And I don't know, there's another one of drilling a hole inside someone's head. I mean, what the hell? Apparently, I've heard, apparently it worked. Did it? Or is the person who told me that something like that works, are they mentally ill? I don't know. Right now, I'm questioning everything. There's so many people that think that they have the sane solution, the right answer, when actually their right answer is another form of mental illness, and people just not being too stupid to recognize it. I think the best way to guarantee that you will never get a mental illness is to guarantee that you stay thinking right, straight, recognize what you're saying. He's saying that he's been on lithium, and he's also dependent on it now. He can't get off it. He has 8 tablets a day. I would love to do a test where I put him in a house and give him medication, but maybe like potato medicine. Just get a normal potato, turn it into some sort of pill, and pretend that he's having his normal dosage. What will happen if you take him off? Because medication could be largely people making money off drugs, and there's a big amount of money in drugs, and there might be a lot of big drug dealer seller people who are wearing suits like my uncle was when he was a hospital specialist in the mental field, when really was, I don't know, making suggestions that were clearly not right. And now that he's got a taste of his own medicine, of being forced onto drugs, I feel like the lithium probably has affected him. He thinks that he's fine, and I can't trust him because he does some stupid things, like he doesn't know how to use a phone and basic things like this. I was thinking I'm going to Blackpool in a week, and I'm going to meet him on Friday, and I gave him the address, but I was like, well, how would you find the address, And he's like, oh, well, just get a taxi. I'll tell them the taxi number. So it's like, he wouldn't think, oh, I'm going to, I have a computer. He doesn't know how to use a computer. I've got a phone. I don't know how to use a phone. What? We're living in the modern age. Surely everyone knows how to use a phone and use a computer, type in, he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm sure I could figure it out. This is stupidity. This isn't mental illness. This is stupidity. And as so many people would blame mental illness on mental illness, and it's not. I think it's dumbness. It's stupidity. It's not thinking rationally. And I mean, he's quite good at he's better than my mum and sister when it comes to analyzing things. But I feel like he's developed that from his life as this doctor who's seen as someone professional, and really he's just someone who had an education that was all wrong. And some people can come off as being intelligent, and maybe they can have an intelligent conversation about something, but I find it very difficult having a conversation with him, because I find that I just lose so much interest, and lose interest in, and is sometimes if he was to talk to me about something and I was to repeat what he was just saying, sometimes it would be hard, because I don't actually know. It's like a lot of the conversations we have, I feel like it just goes in one ear and out the other, because I just don't, my brain doesn't tell me to listen to it. And even though he writes letters to the Queen, and he's often tells me, oh, I've written to this person and this person actually responded. And I'm wondering what they're thinking. Are they reading these letters as intelligent? And maybe there is intelligence in them. I feel like I'm looking at him as someone who's intelligent because of this. And then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, are these people actually responding, or is he just like, is it who's responding? I'm confused, and I don't know, and I feel like I want to respect, and I do respect him, but I don't believe everything that he says. Um, and so yeah, and I'm having quite a deep conversation about that. And then I'm also we went to have a bubble tea next door again in the Chinese place, and it's reminding me of the mother song, I am your mother, you listen to me. And just thinking how much I hate that Donny guy. I think he's got some sort of mental illness too, and he does seem to remind me of the Kanye West type character, someone who's so loving, kind towards my sister one minute, and then just completely slags her off the next minute, and then how crazy my sister is for taking her back, wanting to take him back, and be like, oh, but he's very persistent. It's like, what the hell? This is not about what he wants, it's about what you want. You shouldn't want someone that's willing to just get you pregnant, and then force, give all the reasons why you shouldn't have the child to a social services so that the child can be taken off you. I mean, you've just been through all this. How can you not remember? How can you think that even taking back is a possibility? And it's absolutely madness. They're all mad, and it's and then I'm thinking, well, he's actually brought up in the adoption system, and the song, take me home by the Angel of Wisdom, Sophie Bextor. Yeah, she on one hand she represents the Angel of Wisdom, so it's kind of like saying, take me home, take home the Angel of Wisdom, you want me. But on the other hand, it could represent my sister, and if I'm thinking about how mad she is for even considering taking Donny back after all the things that he said against her, literally the so aggressive, some of the things that he says, like, oh, she got Down syndrome, and I saw this to loads of people, she's like a child molester, and she can never have this baby. I'm going to sue, when this is finished, I'm going to sue all the social workers for even letting Sophie take the baby home. And she's so strong in everything that he says, and oh, now he wants her back again, and Sophie's just going to take him. Well, he wants free accommodation, and Sophie also talked about, I think actually my uncle who said, or maybe it's my mum, I think my mum called, said that Sophie's probably not going to gain any of the inheritance from the baby's father, although technically I think I'm pretty certain the baby is actually the father, and therefore the inheritance probably should all go to the baby. I don't know if the family should, if whoever's looking after the baby probably should have a bit of it to help them raise a child. I'm sure that's what the child would want. If I knew that I was going to die and be this brand new baby, I would love the brand new baby to inherit everything that I got. Why? Because, hey, I made that money, and I would like it back. Okay, I've lost my life and I'm now a baby again, but I know that's how I would be feeling if I was him. If I was Thomas right now, I would want all my pennies to go to the baby. Why? Because I'm pretty sure the baby is actually me. If that's what Thomas is thinking, that is what Thomas will be thinking. He's not thinking anything right now because he's a baby and he doesn't know English yet. But I'm confused. I'm messing up my words too. But yeah, it's that's just how it is. I don't know if the child is going to stay with Sophie or not. I think she definitely does want a child, but I think she also needs help and care she needs someone to look after her and stop her from being abused. But yeah, that "Take Me Home" song is so funny because if it's my sister, if that represents my sister, you know, it can to say a strong message to all the guys that want to just find an easy, cheap girl and be like, oh yeah, I'll take this girl home. She's going to be easy to sleep with, and next thing you know, she's pregnant, you're dead, and now, oh look, this cheap, easy girl is your mother, and what's going to happen? Oh, she can't look after me because she's incapable or incompetent of looking after children. Oh, what's going to happen to me? Oh, I'm going to end up in the foster care system. Oh wait, what happened to Donnie? Oh, he ended up in the foster care system. So yeah, things go round in circles, and if the reason why Donnie was brought up in the foster care system was because of maybe in his past life he got someone pregnant and just didn't give a shit about the kid or something, you know, well, that's why he's ended up in the foster care system. You know, you do not want to take girls like this home. Unless, of course, you do want to end up in the foster care system, in which case you need to go find yourself someone like my sister and take her home like that "Take Me Home" song says in that Sophie Alice Spexter song.